Mr. Senator Michael, let me bring in some angles to this. Obasanjo is making some, would I call it allegation? He said, one, senators go home with 15 million every month. Our House of Rep members go home with 10 million every month. And you look as if they pay themselves salary. Is this right for our democracy?
Of course, now that's why people are calling for bicameral legislature to avoid all this stealing tendencies that is happening even in the Senate today. People are saying parliamentary system should be revisited, based on this kind of issue that whenever it comes off, it makes Nigerians jittery. We know that fraudulent practices are going on in the Senate, and these are avenues where they create certain manipulations on how to loot, money projects meant for national interest.
He equally raised another issue. Say budget pardon must not go unpunished.
Of course, now many people are struggling. It's just the fact that Senator Abdul Ningi, was shut down during that at the section in the Senate, because all those elements that we are shutting him down, we are also part of the budget pardon. That's the truth, but it actually took place in the Senate. The budget pardon actually took place, and you see from the likes of Solomon Ademola, or whatever they call him, and all those senators that shut down what Senator Abdul Ningi was trying to say, it looks like they were it was a gang up to make sure that the image of the Senate is somehow being protected. But revelation has started coming in, that actually there were budget padding, and how it is going to unveil in a few weeks from now. Of course, you can see how what the former military leader of IBB, what IBB said. IBB is calling for investigation into that matter, and the matter is yet to be settled as I'm talking to you now.
Let us look at what he's saying again. He said budget pardon is a regular and systemic practice in Nigeria, and he's going further to say ganging up to intimidate the life of whistleblower is undemocratic. What's your view?
Of course, this is a fight against sanity in the Senate. It's a fight against the corrupt manipulation of the Senate. It's a fight against bringing perpetrators, exposing their atrocities that have been happening in the Senate over the years. I think to an extent, Senator Abdul Ningi should be given kudos, for having that courage, to unveil or disclose what is happening in the Senate. And even though a lot of people within that rank, within the Senate that call themselves senior senators or ranking senators, has a kind of moved against him. But the man to today still stands his ground. Of course, his governor also, from Bauchi State, is also in support of what Ningi did, and is calling for more investigation, to the issue of budget funding that has become a norm over the years in the Senate.
You look at Ningi is the support of Ningi is growing by the day. You mentioned Bala Mohammed, who is the governor of the state. Even the northern, even the socio-political organization in the north. I'm talking about the socio-political organization in the north.
Northern Governor Elders Forum.
Northern Elders Forum and the other one. They seem to be
Consultative Forum.
Yes, Arewa Consultative Forum seem to have thrown their weight behind Ningi. But let us leave that. Let us look at another thing that Obasanjo is saying. He's saying that constituency project is a veritable source of corruption in Nigeria.
Of course.
Because he's alleging that these senators, House of Rep members, that at times they sub project into the budget, at times it's not executed, and money is dispensed. What's your reaction?
Of course. That is why you've seen the dividends of democracy have continued to elude the Nigerian people because of this kind of game they normally play, where certain people are being given privileges, to manipulate the budget, for political gain or whatever, for their own selfishness. So Obasanjo is very, very right. He understands that it has been a trending issue among senators who have ulterior motive on how to loot Nigeria. Of course, at the end of the day, that is the state of the matter, and that is how we continue to experience these things over the years. And it is high time, people come out, especially the civil society organizations, come out in support, of what Ningi is trying to unveil and make it very clearly. But you see, some of the northern senators are trying to turn it against the north versus the south, which a lot of people are not going to accept that.
Now, lastly on this, there's another, we like all the allegation from Obasanjo. It's a National Assembly cabal is worse than any cabal one can find in our national system.
Of course,
this is a big allegation.
That's a very good one from the former president.
He's trying to say that the present cabal at the National Assembly is worse than any other cabal.
Of course, we have seen under Ahmed Lawal, as the then Senate president, how 30 trillion was printed and shared. Nobody heard about it until now. And this very one now is a continuum of what is happening, of what Buhari left behind. And it's not far-fetched. Before now, you can see the revelation that is coming from different quarters, on how they steam Nigeria dry. For the sake of records, I want to make it very clearly that at this point in time, this is not a matter of politics or where you come from. This is about national interest. How do we then address this kind of issue? How do we now move out from where we found ourselves, where people smuggle in projects that they are not going to execute? At the end of the day, they corner the money to themselves. This has been happening, and they can't tell me that they are not aware of what Ningi is trying to say. It's because they are based on the same feather. They know that if they do it that way, it's going to favor them because they are. Remember, before now, Ningi himself said he went to the Senate president, Gosun Akpabio, in the first place, to complain about this issue of budget padding. And instead of the Senate president, to look into it properly, he quickly mobilized senators, because they know the game they played. They quickly mobilized senators, and that is the result of what we saw during the session in the Senate, where eventually Ningi was suspended for 3 months.
Thank you very much, Mr. Atinedu Michael. I think this is a good place to let it go. But one thing is certain, that if you have an issue and it's not resolved, it will always rear its ugly head. And we can only pray and hope that the government will do the right thing. And to do the right thing is to ensure that you don't keep the messenger of a message, but rather let them look at the message that is coming from the messenger.
Yes, it's a good point you raise this. That boils down how I don't know why the civil society organizations are handicapped in this matter. I don't know. I don't see the reason why an independent investigation should not be conducted to unveil actually whether there was issue of padding or not. So you can see that the issue of corruption has eaten virtually every sector of humanity in this part of the world, and it should be condemned. It should be condemned. Go to those communities. Money that is meant for developmental projects, are being cornered. At the end of the day, look at the issue of almost 500 something billion. That was meant for, if I can remember, one government project in the north that has to do with oceanography or something. That at the end of the day, they discovered that project, extra 513 billion or thereabout, was added to that budget. And up till now, people are still crying over that issue, coupled with what Senator Ningi, was able to disclose. Why is it that the civil society organization, are keeping quiet? Are they being bribed? Are they being greased? The government having a kind of shut them down with money or thereabout, that we don't see any protest, we are not seeing any protest, rally or solidarity or calling for an independent inquiry in what Ningi said.
Thank you very much for your time, Mr. Senator Ningi.
Thank
I
you.
think this is a good place to let you go.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.